It is straight up music industry payola, and it has to stop. You control the market. You're in bed with your suppliers. And then at every turn you use your reach and your technology to drive down the share that you pay musicians. You reduce the artist's royalty, and in return you fix the game.
We're not fixing anything.
The major record companies own almost 20% of Spotify, don't they?
It's possible. It's around that number, yes.
So, the musicians are on the labels. The labels own part of Spotify. Spotify decides which musicians get promoted, and then the income from the streams goes straight back to those labels. What part of that does not sound like a cartel?
Is streaming a scam? Is Spotify a scam? Is YouTube a scam? Is this new era of digital technology just another way where you've got the cartel that are in bed with the suppliers, that understand where to get the stock, or they price fix and they decide who to sell to, and whoever they sell to, they know who are they then going to on-sell to. And most of these DSPs, platforms like Apple, Spotify, a significant chunk of their shareholding is with the record companies. So the record companies on the DSPs, the biggest DSPs decide which playlist to be pushed up. And for you to be pushed up, for you to be front and center, for instance, when you tune into Netflix, it's like, okay, let's start it, let me simplify it the best way I can. Let's say, guys, even Namanj, the way you lead your life. You wear mostly the clothes that you often see in the front of your wardrobe. But you probably have got other clothes that you haven't worn in a while. But because you don't see them that often in the front of your wardrobe, you end up pretty much wearing similar things where it's like, ish. Ungibona ngigqoke lento ekubeni ngihlangane naye 3 weeks back bengigqoke the same thing. Not ukuthi awunazi impahla kodwa you keep on recycling the same clothes because they're just in front of your face. Uyazigeza, washing machine or mhlambe hand wash or whatever it is, ya ayiniwa. And then you're going to repeat the same thing that you wore last week or the week before. But you actually have got a whole lot of other clothes that you don't wear. Netflix decides which movies to have on their homepage, which movies to promote on their platforms. Same as YouTube, which videos to recommend. I mean, imagine you right now for having to click on this video. You are probably... This video was probably recommended to you by YouTube. You saw it on what to watch after, right? Excuse me. Or maybe it's in a playlist. You were watching my other videos and it happened to be in the playlist of a whole lot of other videos of the day-to-day recordings that I do. And you happen to click on this video based on maybe the title. It doesn't even have a thumbnail. But maybe because you've clicked on my previous videos before, this video comes highly recommended to you by YouTube. It's the same thing that DSPs do. How many people release music daily? Millions of songs are released daily. What guarantee do you have that your song is going to be put front and center in all of those playlists on these DSPs? Is it Deezer? Is it what, like Tidal, Spotify? And all these DSPs that distribute music. A lot of the times you have to spend the money. That's why the kids or the upcoming talent can't afford to have their music heard. Why? Because they don't have the money to pump and advertise or sit in meetings with the team so that they're exposed on those playlists that people get to listen to frequently. Afro beats playlist, house music playlist, dance music playlist, amapiano playlist, Afro soul playlist, R&B playlist, hip hop playlist, etc. Globally, they have now found a way to centralize all of these platforms, and then at the same time, the same platforms are owned by record companies. I mean, almost 20% of Spotify is owned by record companies. I'm going to attach this video. I want you to click the link in the... Actually, I want you to go and meet me in the comment section, especially all you creatives, musicians, filmmakers, actors, actresses, and everybody that is in the creative space in this era that we're in, including content creators, my brothers and sisters. We all create content daily. We can't control who advertises on our videos. YouTube tells you that your video, you got this many views, this is how much we give you per 1,000 views, this is your CPM, or this is your RPM, this is how it's monetized, these are the number of ads that were played on your video, so therefore you qualify for this much. They tell you, you don't know, it's like data. The telco tells you, the telecommunications company, that you know what, your data is now, you're left with 100 megabytes. You're now left with 250 megabytes. It's time for you to buy more data. And then you're like, but I had 5 gigs just a few days ago. All that 5 gigs is done. You don't even have a dipstick to even measure as to how much data you've used. But then, you know, in your mind, you're like, okay, maybe I got into social media a lot. I got into TikTok a lot. I got into Instagram. I watched some videos on YouTube. Well, maybe it makes sense. My data is finished. Now I must go buy more. But they tell you that. You don't know. It's the same thing with the DSPs with music. Jigga raps in all of his freestyles and he says, it's like YouTube is the biggest culprit. They give you a percent or what, a cent of what you're supposed to get. Something like that. Right? So, if you watch this video that I've attached, this actual video, you'll get to understand what they were saying in Congress, in Parliament, in the US, when they were grilling the representatives from Spotify. I want you to watch the video. I want you to watch the entire video and let us have a discussion in the comment section, because I believe we're all being taken advantage of. We're all being taken for a ride. Because if in America, the people that stream, that sell their music, that sell their movies to the whole world, an average up-and-coming artist makes $12 a month. Out of Spotify's own data, we are using just one DSP. And this video is just talking about one DSP. We're not talking about other DSPs, other platforms. We're just talking about Spotify. $12 a month. How much is that? $12 multiplied by 18. Okay, let's say $12 multiplied by 20. Or let's say $12 multiplied by 10. What is that? That's 120. $12 multiplied by 18. It's what, like it's 200 rands. 200 rands. Who can live off of 200 rands? Recording costs, music videos, the swag, the look, the image, the videographer, the editing stuff, the software, the studio time, all of the stuff, the bills that you gotta pay, your rent, your lights, the food that you gotta eat. So an average artist, if they're not a top artist, they can't make a living off of music anymore. You know, the music industry designed the biggest scam years ago called the 360 deal. They have to make money off you as much as they can. They have to make money off of your merchandise. They have to make money off of your brand, of your events, of your performances, of your music videos. They have to make money off of your sync deals, of your mechanical royalties, off of your publishing. They have to make money off of you from all angles. And every year, ever since the streaming era started, the average that an up-and-coming artist would make off of uploading their music off of these platforms has been decreasing. All the way to $12 right now. No, guys, no. There's got to be another way on how we make this money in this creative space. You know, Kanye West sort of showed us an example. I think it was last year, or is it this year? Earlier this year, when he did an ad off of his phone. He trended. And then he sent everybody to his website. And he's independent right now. And then he cut out basically the middleman. And people were buying his products directly from his website, and he sold out. Yes, we are not all Kanye West. We all don't have millions of followers. You know, a lot of artists or creatives are still coming and building their careers. Where do you get all of that audience to be able to have the luxury of exposing your work by cutting out the middleman and selling directly to your website. But it still does make sense. There's a lot of artists that are independent that are selling stuff directly from their factory or from their own creative platforms directly to the consumer. And one way on how a lot of musicians are still making a living is through merch and through shows, especially shows, gigs. We're always waiting to be called. But there's other musicians that have figured out the game, that do their own shows, that do their own tours. And in their own tours and shows, they sell their own merchandise. And they sell all the other things that are built around the artists, because the artists themselves are a business. You are a business. You are your own business. There's hip-hop musicians like Abo Logic, like Abo Joyner Lucas before he blew up. I know he was independent and he was on this independent grind, making a lot of money, selling his merchandise at his shows, booking his own shows, doing his own tours. And I know there's a lot of artists that do that, but what is really the percentage compared to the rest of the other artists or creatives that release millions of songs daily? The record companies, including these DSPs, have all colluded to take advantage of us, guys. So what are we going to do? Are we going to continue to make these videos and keep on complaining, or are we going to do something about it? Just like what Joyner Lucas has been doing, just like what Logic has been doing, just like what Kanye West has been doing, just like what my sister Zonke. Only now that, is it Embo? I forgot the name of the latest album that she's released. I think it was late last year. She didn't put it on the DSPs. She printed physical, is it physical CD? Oh, USBs. And I think she sold a significant number of the CDs or the USBs at her shows. But because she's already a brand and she's already a Zonke, she will sell some of those physical units or copies or USBs at her shows, and she'll make a bit of money and then only to release on the DSPs later. But not everybody is a Kanye West, is a Sis Zonke, is a big artist. A lot of artists are still coming up and we release all the time. We use our social media to promote this music. But who listens to this music? Because ultimately these DSPs decide who they push up front. They even have got like bot factories where you've got just robots that are just there pushing streams to their artists, their preferred artists. So they get higher views, they get bigger streams, etc. because they know they benefit off of that artist. So sad that they even get to benefit even when the artist is dead. They continue to promote this music and get the fans to keep on streaming, so they continue to benefit even off of your death. Even the day you die, my music will be playing everywhere. It'll be playing on all radio stations. People will be saying rest in peace. The streams go high and they'll continue to make money off of us. And that's what they do. They don't even care if you live anymore, because they're even not even 10 steps ahead. They're like 1,000 steps ahead of all of us. Now they've even created AI, where some of the deals that they're doing now is that you must sign off your likeness of your brand. And now they want to capture your voice. They want to capture your mannerisms. They want to capture how you speak, how you pronounce words, how you sing, your voice, your raps. Drake just did it now in his beef against Kendrick Lamar. He included a Snoop verse without Snoop's consent or knowledge or approval. And he also used Tupac's verse that he got from, I don't know where, Lord knows where. That's why Kendrick even exposed him and even spoke about the Tupac estate. I think they even went for Drake. And they were like, no, you can't do that. That's exactly what they will be doing in the future. They've got your likeness. They've got all of your pictures. And everywhere you go right now, they've got this, they call it what? KY something, where you have to take your facial recognition. Sometimes they do challenges where they say how you're going to look like when you're old. Those are all forms of different ways on how they're collecting data from all of us, so they can have our likeness, have our voices, have how we rap, how we sing, how we say things, our mannerisms, how we stand. Everything has been scanned, so much so that it won't be that Tupac hologram anymore performing. It'll be you, while the real you has long died. Why? Because they're using AI now to create an artificial you. So now they've cloned you while you're still alive, that when you pass on, they don't have to deal with the troubles that you bring to them, the complaints that you always bring, and all of these things that you have to say to them, Jalo. They don't have to deal with the headache of the artist being alive, so they'd rather have you dead and make money off of you. That's where we are right now in my creative industry, guys. It's sad. That's how these companies are taking advantage of all of us. How much money are you making per stream? Even the biggest artists, they don't make that much. Most of their money comes from shows, publishing, mechanical royalties, sync deals, endorsement deals, especially shows and the merch. Food for thought, you do the dishes. Food for thought, you do the dishes. Watch the video and let us meet in the comment section. Or you don't have to listen to my whole speech. You can just fast forward to here and listen to that video and let me know what you think. Let's get the discussion going in the comment section.
Could you please identify yourself for the committee?
My name is Daniel Eck, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Spotify.
Mr. Eck, you previously described Spotify's mission as to unlock the potential of human creativity by giving 1 million artists the opportunity to live off their art.
Yes.
How is your progress towards that?
Excellent. Our top-tier club of artists who can support themselves from streams has doubled in the last 3 years and tripled since 2015.
That's impressive. So at your current rate of growth, you would hit that 1 million figure in just under 75 years? Your business model just doesn't work for musicians, does it?
That's not true.
What are the average earnings of an artist not in your top tier?
Well, the number of artists changes so fast for us to know.
Mr. Eck, from your own data, I can see here that the figure is $12 a month. Could you live off that?
Well, that number is not verified, so.
It's taken from your own results. What is Discovery Max?
Discovery Max is a perfect example. It's a service that helps artists.
Discovery Max is a service in which you take a bigger share of the artist's royalty and in return offer them extra promotion.
Well, Discovery Max is an exchange between Spotify and the artist.
It is straight up music industry payola, and it has to stop. You're splitting hairs, Mr. Eck. You reduce the artist's royalty and in return you fix the game.
We're not fixing anything.
The major record companies own almost 20% of Spotify, don't they?
It's possible. It's around that number, yes.
So, the musicians are on the labels. The labels own part of Spotify. Spotify decides which musicians get promoted, and then the income from the streams goes straight back to those labels. What part of that does not sound like a cartel?
We're not a cartel.
You control the market. You're in bed with your suppliers. And then at every turn you use your reach and your technology to drive down the share that you pay musicians.